You know that feeling, right? That really powerful, all-consuming sensation you just fall into.
Yeah, the movie version of love.
Exactly. The kind plastered all over our movies, songs, every rom-com. It feels like, I don't know, destiny, a lightning bolt.
Totally. But what if that whole idea, that popular way of thinking about love, is actually, well, fundamentally mistaken?
It's a pretty big thought, isn't it?
It is, because if love were just some feeling you passively get hit by, if you're lucky.
Then why the hunger for it?
Right. Why are so many people seemingly starving for it? Why do we consume endless stories and songs about love, but so few of us think it's something you actually need to learn?
Okay, so that's the core tension.
That's exactly it.
And that's where we're diving deep today. We're getting into Erich Fromm's really influential 1956 book, The Art of Loving.
And it's not just a book, is it? It's more like a challenge.
Definitely. A challenge to rethink, well, everything we thought we knew about love.
Fromm's idea was pretty radical then, and honestly, it still kind of is. He argues love isn't just this nice sensation you stumble upon.
He calls it an art.
Exactly, an art, a skill that needs knowledge, effort, real disciplined practice.
Like learning an instrument. Or medicine.
Precisely. You don't just fall into being a concert pianist, right?
Yeah.
Or a surgeon. It takes serious, dedicated work, years of it.
Okay. So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack Fromm's argument. He believed that the way we generally approach love in modern Western society, it's actually causing it to fall apart.
Yeah, it's disintegration, he called it. And to truly love, he says, we have to approach it actively, consciously, like an endeavor.
Not just something that happens to us.
Right.
Wow, that sounds like a big project. Where do we even start with this art class for love?
Well, Fromm kicks things off by pointing out a really common mistake.
Okay.
Most people, he says, see the problem of love as the problem of being loved.
How do I get someone to love me?
Exactly. How to be popular, how to be attractive, how to make myself, desirable.
Which seems natural enough.
It does. But Fromm argues the fundamental mistake isn't wanting to be loved. It's overlooking the deeper issue, your own capacity to love.
So it's not about receiving, but about giving, or the ability to give.
It's about developing the skill itself, your own faculty for loving rather than just sort of waiting passively to be picked.
That's a huge shift. It's not about being the perfect love object,
Right.
but about cultivating your own inner ability, your faculty, to actually do the loving.
And Fromm connects this mistake to a big cultural shift, moving away from things like traditional arranged marriages.
Where maybe stability was the main goal.
Perhaps, towards our modern obsession with finding romantic love, the one perfect person.
And he thinks the search itself is part of the problem.
In a way, yes. Especially how we go about it. He uses this fascinating term, the marketing orientation.
Marketing, like selling something.
Pretty much. He says people assess their own personality package, their looks, their status, their charm.
Like putting together a resume for dating.
Kind of. And then they look for a mutually favorable exchange with someone else's package.
Wow, that sounds transactional.
It reduces relationships, Fromm argues, to the patterns of the commodity market, buying and selling.
You see that, though, don't you? Polishing the personal brand, trying to get the best deal.
Absolutely.
So how does that fit with, the spark, that initial feeling?
The falling in love part, from a really sharp distinction there.
Between what?
Between that first exhilarating experience, that sudden feeling of intimacy, overcoming separateness.
The butterflies, the excitement.
Yeah, that. He distinguishes that from the much deeper, more permanent state he calls standing in love.
Standing in love, not falling.
Right. Standing, implying stability, activity, effort.
So the dizzying falling part, that's not the main event.
He argues it's often pretty short-lived. That initial infatuation without deeper effort, without that standing,
Defate.
it often gives way to boredom, disappointment, maybe even resentment. And Fromm says something even more provocative. He suggests that intense falling in love feeling is often actually proof of underlying loneliness.
Not proof of love, but proof of loneliness.
Yeah, like a temporary, maybe even desperate escape from feeling isolated, rather than a sign of genuine, lasting connection.
That really makes you pause. It challenges the whole fairy tale, doesn't it?
Completely.
Okay, so if love is an art, like Fromm says,
Yeah.
how do we learn it? How do we practice?
He lays out 3 key steps, much like learning any other art.
Step 1.
Mastery of the theory. You have to understand the basics, the principles, what love actually is, according to his framework.
So read the manual first. Makes sense. Step 2.
Mastery of the practice. This is the hard part. Consistent effort. discipline, applying that theory in your actual life, your interaction.
Like practicing scales on the piano, you can't just read about it.
Exactly. Hours and hours of practice.
And the third step, you said it was crucial.
Making it an ultimate concern. Basically, treating the art of loving as supremely important. More important than, say, just career success or status.
Putting love at the center.
Making it a top priority in your life, something you dedicate real energy to.
But why don't most people do this if it's so important?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Fromm observes that in our culture, almost all our energy goes into learning things that bring external rewards.
Money, power, prestige.
Exactly. Success as defined by society. Love, which Fromm says only profits the soul.
Only the soul.
Right. It gets treated like a luxury, something nice if it happens, but not something you actively work on or practice. We pour energy into our jobs, hobbies, even our social media profiles.
But not into learning how to love better.
Generally speaking, no. Not in the disciplined way Fromm means.
That's a sobering thought. Prioritizing everything else over enriching our inner lives and connections.
It sets the stage for why he thinks love is in trouble.
Okay, let's get into that theory then, part 2. What is love, fundamentally, in Fromm's view? It starts with existence itself.
Yeah, he builds it from the ground up based on his theory of human existence. It's fascinating. He says humans, unlike animals, have transcended nature. We have self-awareness.
Which sounds like a good thing.
It is, but it comes with a price. That awareness also brings the experience of being alone, separate, even helpless.
The awareness of our own mortality or smallness.
Exactly, and that separateness, that aloneness, is the source of deep anxiety for humans.
So the fundamental human drive then is
to overcome this separateness, to achieve union, connection. That's our deepest need.
And people try to achieve this union in different ways, not all of them healthy.
Right. He talks about pseudo-solutions, temporary fixes that don't really work long-term.
Like what?
Well, first, there are orgiastic states.
Sounds intense.
They are. Think temporary fusion through maybe auto-induced trances, drugs, even sexual orgies in some contexts.
A feeling of merging, losing yourself for a moment.
Exactly. Intense, but fleeting. And in cultures that don't have, a healthy place for these things, they often lead to more isolation afterwards. Think alcoholism, drug addiction. It's a short-term escape, not a real solution.
Okay, what else?
Another big one is herd conformity.
Just blending in.
Pretty much. Achieving a sense of union by conforming completely to the group, adopting its customs, beliefs, opinions, essentially losing your individual self in the crowd.
Safety in numbers, but you lose yourself.
And Fromm notes how our modern idea of equality often just means sameness. Individuality gets reduced to tiny, superficial differences. Like, we all wear jeans, but maybe different brands.
That rings true. And in creative work, can that be a solution?
It can be. Creative activity is potentially a very productive way to unite with the world through making something.
There's a but, isn't there?
Yeah. Fromm argues that modern industrial work often ruins this. The worker becomes just like an appendix to a machine.
No real creativity involved, just repetitive tasks.
Exactly. So that path to union is blocked for many.
So if orgies, conformity, and assembly lines don't work, what is the true solution?
Fromm calls it mature interpersonal union, which is basically genuine love.
And this is different from unhealthy merging.
Totally different. He contrasts it with what he calls symbiotic union. That's pathological. It's where you lose your integrity.
Like in masochism, where you submit completely.
Or sadism, where you dominate and absorb the other person. In both cases, the individual self is damaged or lost.
But mature love.
Mature love preserves integrity. It preserves individuality. You unite, but you remain distinct selves. Union without losing yourself.
Okay, and how's that work? He says love is an activity.
Yes, a core idea. Love is an active power, not a passive affect.
Meaning it's something you do, not just something you feel.
Precisely. It's standing in, remember, not falling for. It's an activity, a force you generate. And its primary expression is through giving.
Giving, not receiving. That sounds counterintuitive to the being loved focus.
It is.
But
Furman redefines giving. It's not about sacrifice or losing something.
What is it then?
It's the highest expression of your own vitality, your aliveness, your potency. Giving actually increases your sense of life and joy.
Giving what, though? Not just material things.
Oh, definitely not. It's giving of what is alive in you. Your joy, your interest, your understanding, your knowledge, your humor, even your sadness. Sharing your inner life.
And that enriches both people.
Profoundly. It brings the other person to life and enhances your own sense of aliveness. He quotes Marx, actually.
Numbers on love.
Yeah. Something like, assume man as man, and you can exchange love only for love. It suggests that genuine giving creates a reciprocal human connection.
Wow. Okay, so love is active giving. What are its components? He breaks it down further, right?
Yes, the 4 basic elements: care, responsibility, respect, and knowledge.
Let's take those one by one. Care.
This is active concern for the life and growth of the person or thing you love. Not just a feeling, but actively nurturing their well-being.
Like a mother caring for her child.
That's a prime example he uses. Or he points to the biblical story of Jonah, where God basically teaches Jonah to care about the people of Nineveh, to want them to thrive. It's an active investment.
Okay. Second, responsibility.
He defines this as a voluntary response to the needs, spoken or unspoken, of another person.
Voluntary being the key word.
Absolutely. It's not obligation or duty in a burdensome sense. It's choosing to respond. And crucially, it avoids domination or possessiveness. You're responding to them, not controlling them.
Got it. Third element, respect.
This is huge. It's the ability to see the other person as they truly are, to be aware of their unique individuality.
Seeing them, not just your projection of them.
Exactly, and wanting them to grow and unfold in their own way, for their own sake, not for how you want them to be or how they can serve you.
And he links this to independence.
Yes, he says you can only truly respect others if you've achieved independence yourself. If you're not leaning on them in an unhealthy way, you can let them be who they are.
That makes sense. And the final element, knowledge.
This isn't just knowing facts about someone, like their favorite color or birthday.
Deeper than that.
Much deeper. It's penetrating beyond the surface to the core of the other person. Understanding their reality from the inside, almost.
How do you get that kind of knowledge?
Through the experience of union itself, through love. It transcends purely intellectual understanding. He contrasts it sharply with the kind of knowing in sadism, which is about penetrating secrets to control and destroy. Love's knowledge builds connection.
Care, responsibility, respect, knowledge. CRRK, that's the foundation.
That's the core of the activity of loving, yes.
He also talks about the sexes, the polarity. What's his angle there?
He discusses the idea of male and female poles. Not just physical, but psychological energies or principles.
Like
maybe traditionally masculine traits associated with penetration, guidance, activity, and traditionally feminine ones, with receptiveness, endurance, nurturing.
Okay, but he's not saying men are only one way and women only the other.
No, not rigidly. He suggests these polarities exist within each person to varying degrees. And the dynamic union between these polarities, whether within one person or between two, is the basis for creativity and love.
So it's about integrating these different energies.
Yes, he found Freud's view of sex just as releasing tension way too limited. Fromans sees the union of these polarities as much more fundamental, linked to creativity itself.
Interesting. Okay, let's shift to parent and child love. He maps out a development there.
Yes, it's crucial to his theory. He starts with infantile love, which is primarily mother-centered.
Meaning the child's experience of being loved by the mother.
Right. It's characterized by being loved simply for being helpless, dependent. Mother's love, ideally, is unconditional affirmation. Think nourishment, warmth, safety. He calls it milk. It's about preserving life and growth.
Just acceptance for existing.
Ideally, yes. But then the child needs to grow beyond that.
Towards mature love.
Exactly. As the child develops, they need to overcome that initial egocentricity and develop the capacity to love actively, to give love. And this involves integrating what he calls a father-centered aspect.
How is fatherly love different in his model?
In contrast to the mother's unconditional love, fatherly love is often portrayed as more conditional.
Conditional, like based on performance.
Often, yes. Based on the child meeting expectations, following rules, fulfilling duties, achieving things. It represents the pole of thought, law, order, discipline.
So mother is unconditional love, father is conditional guidance.
That's the archetype he uses. And the ideal development for a mature adult involves a synthesis of both.
Bringing them together inside yourself.
Yes. Internalizing the mother's capacity for unconditional love, which gives you emotional security and the ability to love others, and internalizing the father's guidance, reason, judgment, and conscience.
So you need both the nurturing and the structure.
Exactly. Fromm believed that a failure to achieve this inner synthesis, maybe getting stuck on one pole or having unhealthy experiences with either parent figure, is a fundamental cause of neurosis. It messes up your ability to form balanced, mature relationships later.
Wow. That connects childhood directly to adult love capacity.
Deeply.
Now, this leads to another big point. Love isn't just about one person, right? He talks about the objects of love.
Yes, this is critical. He insists love isn't primarily about your relationship to one specific person.
What is it then?
It's an attitude, an orientation of your whole character that determines how you relate to the world as a whole.
So if you say, I love my partner, but I hate everyone else.
Fromm would say that's not true love. That's what he calls an egotism à deux, an enlarged selfishness for two. Or maybe a symbiotic attachment.
Okay, hold on. Isn't it natural to feel strongest for one person? To prioritize them? Does he think we should love everyone equally intensely?
That's a really important clarification. No, he's not saying you don't have special, deeper connections or commitments. He's saying the underlying capacity, the attitude of care, responsibility, respect, knowledge must be universal.
Ah, okay. So the love for your partner should stem from, and maybe even enhance, your general love for humanity.
Exactly. If loving one person makes you more capable of brotherly love, more compassionate generally, that's a sign it's genuine. If it makes you withdrawn, suspicious, or hostile to others,
And it's probably that enlarged egotism.
precisely. Your specific loves should be expressions of a general loving orientation, not exceptions to a general indifference or hostility.
That makes a lot more sense. Okay, so he breaks down different types of love that express this attitude, brotherly love.
He sees this as the most fundamental kind. It's the love for all fellow human beings, rooted in that sense of shared humanity, responsibility, care, respect, knowledge for any other person.
Seeing the human core beneath the surface differences.
Exactly. It's the foundation.
Then motherly love, which we touched on.
Right, that unconditional affirmation, nurturing growth, but with the crucial goal of helping the child separate and become independent. The ultimate success of motherly love is the child no longer needing the mother in the same way.
That's a paradox, isn't it? Loving enough to let go.
A profound one.
What about erotic love?
This is the craving for complete fusion, complete union with one other person. It's exclusive in that sense.
The romantic, passionate love.
Yes, but Fromm adds a crucial dimension. He stresses it shouldn't just be a feeling. It must also be an act of will, a decision, a judgment, a promise.
So commitment is built in, not just passion.
Absolutely. While it has that unique intensity and exclusivity, he argues it still must be grounded in that basic brotherly love. If you can't love humanity, your erotic love for one person might be flawed.
It's all interconnected.
Very much so.
Now, self-love. This one trips people up. Isn't that selfish?
Fromm tackles that head on. He argues forcefully against the common idea that loving yourself is the same as being selfish.
What's his reasoning?
He claims that selfishness and self-love are actually opposites. The selfish person, he says, doesn't love themselves too much. They actually don't love themselves at all. They might even hate themselves deep down.
So selfishness comes from a lack, not an excess, of self-love.
Exactly. Their grasping, needy behavior is a symptom of inner emptiness and insecurity. True self-love, for Fromm, is inseparable from loving others. It's based on the same CRRK principles applied to oneself.
Like the golden rule, almost. Love others as you love yourself.
Precisely. He quotes Meister Eckhart. If you love yourself, you love everybody else as much as you love yourself. You need that foundation of self-respect and self-care to genuinely love others.
That's incredibly freeing. Self-care isn't selfish. It's necessary for connection.
A prerequisite, yes.
Okay, finally, the love of God. How does that fit in?
Fromm sees this too as flowing from that fundamental human need to overcome separateness and achieve union. He traces how the idea of God evolves.
Somewhat to what?
From early, more anthropomorphic concepts, God as a powerful mother or father figure, imagined with human-like needs and emotions.
A parental figure in the sky.
Kind of, towards a more mature understanding where God represents an ultimate principle, an embodiment of love, truth, and justice, often found within oneself and expressed through one's actions.
Less about an external being, more about an internal principle.
Yes. And knowing God in this mature sense isn't about intellectual belief or dogma. It's about the experience of oneness, of unity. It's about living a life of love and justice.
So it connects to Eastern thought.
He definitely sees parallels with Taoism, Buddhism, and thinkers like Spinoza or even Marx, where the focus shifts from right thought or belief to right action, right living, experiencing unity through how you live.
Okay, wow. That's a really comprehensive theory. Love is an act of art, rooted in existence, requiring specific elements, expressed in various forms.
It's incredibly rich.
Yeah, and here comes part 3. Fromm wasn't just describing an ideal. He was also deeply critical of how our actual society stacks up against this ideal.
Absolutely. He argued that contemporary Western society, specifically the way it's shaped by capitalism, creates conditions that are fundamentally hostile to the development of mature love.
How so? What's the connection between capitalism and the problems with love?
He argues that capitalism tends to turn everything, including human energy and skills, into commodities to be bought and sold. This leads to alienation.
Alienation from work, we hear that a lot.
Yes, but Fromm says it goes deeper. Alienation from ourselves, from our fellow human beings, and from nature.
We become disconnected.
Yes, and our relationships suffer. They become, as we discussed earlier, based on those superficial personality packages.
Marketing orientation again.
Exactly. Exchanged for mutual benefit, driven by a need for security, a desire to conform, a fear of being alone or different. You're looking for a good deal, not necessarily depth connection.
So we end up feeling alone even when we're with someone.
That's the paradox. This deep-seated aloneness, anxiety, and guilt that come from alienation. Society offers ways to cope, but they're just palliatives, he calls them. Temporary painkillers, not cures.
What kind of palliatives?
Things like the strict routine of bureaucratic work, just going through the motions.
Numbing yourself with routine.
Or passive consumption, the whole amusement industry, endless entertainment, scrolling, shopping, buying and exchanging things constantly.
Distractions.
Exactly. They provide a temporary buffer against the void, a false sense of engagement, but they don't fix the underlying problem of separateness.
He compares it to Brave New World.
Yeah, Aldous Huxley's novel, a society where everyone is superficially happy, well-fed, sexually satisfied. But relationships are completely shallow. There's no deep love or connection. He points to the idea of the team marriage as an example of this trend.
The team marriage, what does he mean by that?
It's where the partnership becomes primarily about being a smoothly functioning team. Maybe sharing expenses, raising kids efficiently, presenting a good social front.
Practical arrangement.
Yes. Or a refuge from loneliness. Or what he called egotism à deux. Two people pooling their interests against a hostile world, mistaking that alliance for intimacy or love.
Running life like a business partnership.
Without the deep central connection Fromm talks about.
And he saw specific types of unhealthy love or pseudo-love emerging from this climate.
Yes, several forms. One is idolatrous love.
Idolizing the partner.
Essentially, yes, you project all your own hopes, dreams, and potential onto the other person. You worship them.
Sounds romantic, maybe.
But it's actually self-destructive. You lose yourself in the other person instead of finding your own strength. It's another form of alienation, giving your power away.
Okay, what else?
Sentimental love. This is love that lives mostly in fantasy.
How so?
Like consuming endless romantic movies or songs, daydreaming about past loves or future perfect relationships, but not engaging with the real, messy, here-and-now reality of an actual relationship.
Love for the idea of love, not the practice.
Exactly. It's love experienced vicariously or in daydreams, detached from present reality.
And then neurotic love.
This goes back to those unresolved childhood issues we discussed. Fixations on parent figures, maybe an overprotective mother you can't separate from, or a demanding father you're still trying to please.
And this plays out in adult relationships.
Absolutely. These patterns get projected onto partners. You might recreate the same conflicts, demand the same things, experience the same disappointments. Often, these issues get passed on to children, too. It's repeating old patterns instead of forming mature connections.
It sounds like a lot of what passes for love might not be the real thing, in Fromm's view.
That's his concern. And another related error people make is believing that real love means no conflict.
The idea that if you truly love each other, you'll never fight.
Right. Which Fromm says is completely wrong, a dangerous illusion.
Why? What's his take on conflict?
He asserts that true love is a constant challenge. It's dynamic, it's growing, it's moving, and that process involves both harmony and conflict.
Conflict is part of growth.
Essential to it, sometimes. Real connection requires two people to be able to communicate from the center of their existence, to be authentic, vulnerable, even when it's difficult. Avoiding conflict often means avoiding real intimacy, fleeing from yourself or the other person.
So working through conflict honestly is actually a sign of health, not failure.
A sign of engagement in the art of loving, yes.
So looking at the big picture, Fromm's conclusion about love in modern Western society was pretty pessimistic.
He definitely saw a significant disintegration, as he put it. The conditions were making genuine love increasingly difficult. Even religious love, the love of God.
What did he say about that?
He felt it had largely regressed back towards that idolatric concept, people using God as a kind of cosmic helper figure.
Like asking God to help you win the lottery or get a promotion.
Kind of. Seeking a helping father god to assist in their competitive struggles, or using religion as a psychological tool to feel better or improve one's personality, rather than aiming for genuine spiritual transformation through love and justice. It becomes disconnected from daily life and ethical action.
Another commodity, basically.
In many cases, yes, part of the self-improvement market.
Okay, so wrapping this up, we've journeyed through Erich Fromm's really challenging perspective. Love isn't just a feeling you fall into. It's an art you practice.
An active, courageous art demanding those core elements. Discipline, care, responsibility, respect, knowledge, applied to others and, crucially, to ourselves.
It's an ongoing process, requires real effort, and isn't always easy. More like standing in than falling for.
And what's really powerful is his critique of how our modern world, with its focus on markets, conformity, and superficiality, can actually make this deep, active love incredibly hard to achieve.
He really forces you to look at your own life, your own relationships, doesn't he?
Absolutely. He doesn't just diagnose the problem. He implicitly challenges us to think about how we might cultivate this art despite the obstacles.
So, as we finish this deep dive, reflecting on Fromm's insights, thinking about how society might pull us away from real connection, here's something to ponder. What specific practice of love, just one small, active step, could you begin to cultivate in your own life starting today?
Yeah, what's one thing you could do to move from just wanting love passively to actively engaging in its art? Maybe it's focusing more on giving, or practicing deeper listening, or working on self-respect.
Something concrete, moving from theory to practice, something to think about as you go about your day.